I'm Missy from the blog lifeispoppin.com, and today I'm going to show you how to turn your empty jars you have lying around the house into something really magical. Here's a few I have made up already. These are some Disney inspired ones, but I'm actually going to show you how to make some fairy ones. So it's kind of magical, it kind of goes along with the whole fairy garden, the miniature gardens that are trending right now. This is just another spin on those. So here I have just empty jars. I did get these from the dollar store, but again, I've used pickle jars, spaghetti jars, anything you have in the recycling bin that's clear you can pretty much use. And then you'll just need, so this is what you'll need to make these. You need a clear jar. You need some extra fine glitter. This is, I get this at Walmart. It's just called Crystal Diamond because it's kind of translucent. Some scissors. These are battery operated candles that you can find pretty much anywhere, but I get mine at Dollar Tree because I'm cheap. A glue gun, and then these are some fairy decals. I did make these with a vinyl cutting machine. Before I had that, I actually printed off fairies that I found. You can just Google like a fairy silhouette or look on some sort of clip art website. Find them, cut them out, just cut the edges because you only need the shadow of it. And then you would just Mod Podge this inside the jar. But I'll show you that in a minute.
Somebody's asking if the flowers behind you are homemade.
They are homemade. I did make those as well out of paper, and then they're just taped to the wall. Then you'll need just some silk flowers that you can glue onto the lid, as you can see here, just to add a little bit of pizzazz. And then yeah, I think that's basically it. Today we are also doing, Hometalk is doing a giveaway on a canvas tote bag, and the giveaway question is going to be, what have you turned your empty jars into? So I can't wait to hear all about your great ideas. Hometalk will pick a winner at the end of this live video. So let's get started. I'm going to pour, this is my Mod Podge. I'm sure there are several other sealants you can use. I use Mod Podge because it works for me. It's easy. I'm just going to pour it in here so it's easier to do.
We have Diana from Alabama.
Hello, Diana. Where are you all watching from? We live in Indianapolis, so that's where we are making these jars from. Alright, so once you have your Mod Podge, I removed the lids. You don't want to get any of the Mod Podge on the lids because you want to be able to glue the flowers on, and it just makes a sticky mess. So with these fine little foam brushes, you can use paint brushes. I just find that these are much easier to use because they make a thinner coat and it's a lot even, or it's more even. You don't want clumps because then your glitter will clump. So you just get a good amount of Mod Podge on your brush, and you're just going to start going like this, making fine lines. If you put it on too thick, like I said, the glitter will clump.
Looks like we have a lot of folks from South Carolina, Michigan, India, Arizona, Rhode Island.
Ooh, we were just in South Carolina. It's beautiful there. So again, you're just going to go around your jar, and you kind of work a little fast just because the Mod Podge does dry, and if it dries before you get the glitter on, the glitter will not stick. So we're almost done. Now I use a paper plate. You can use anything, but I don't like to waste stuff, so to collect the glitter that I'm going to sprinkle on here, the paper plate works fine, so I can just put it right back into the glitter jar. So I'm just going to unscrew this. You can see the lines. I do have a few chunks. It's hard to get it perfect. But you just start dumping your glitter on here so that it goes on evenly. Yeah, and the paper plate just catches all of the excess glitter, so I can put it back in the jar. And you want to make sure you get around the edges the best that you can. But you don't want to do the bottom because if you set the jar down, then the glitter will just start scraping off and it won't look very good. So once you can see that it's completely covered, all of your glue areas are covered with the glitter, You can let it dry. It takes probably about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how thick the layer of glue is underneath for it to dry. I'm going to show you what one coat of glitter looks like. Here's one my girls actually made. You can see why we need 2 coats of glitter, because you can still see the fairy, but it needs some more coverage, obviously. So this is what it looks like with 1 coat. I'm going to show you. The Mod Podge goes on so much better after you have the first coat of glitter on there. It just covers more evenly, and you don't have to worry about it being as perfect.
Yeah, it's me.
And this is just another shape. I'm going to show you how to do one of these.
Yeah, it's me. Should I?
These are a little more...
Okay.
These are a little more difficult to cover the first layer just because of all of the grooves and edges, but still a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool to see them in something other than just a round jar. So as you can see, the glitter goes on much easier. I mean, the Mod Podge goes on much easier the second time around. The glitter just kind of absorbs it and helps it to have a smoother coat.
Somebody's mentioning this would make great baby shower gifts.
Yes, I love that. I actually made these originally because our 5-year-old doesn't like to sleep in her own room, so I thought I would make her a fun little nightlight. She likes to catch lightning bugs in the summer, so I thought this was just instead of bringing the little bugs inside and doing that whole jar, we would just make our own spin on that. You can do these for, anything. Like I said, I made the Disney-inspired ones, which I can show you later, but you can put quotes in these, you can put religious things. Anything you can cut in Mod Podge, you can put in here. I've seen some people do silhouettes of their kids. Again, anything. You can do them for boys, you can put trucks in there. You can do superheroes. Just have fun with it. Your kids will probably like to help out also. We're almost there. Again, try not to get it on the bottom, just because if you set this on a shelf or a nightstand or something, you don't want to get glitter everywhere. The joys of cleaning up glitter out of the carpet. Okay, so here's our second coat. I'm going to do the same thing. Just dump glitter everywhere. You can tell that the glitter is going on a lot more evenly. I've done these before. Actually, in my Hometalk post, I made them where I put a layer of Mod Podge on and then I did a white piece of tissue paper. And that worked out fine, and it actually looks like it glows a little differently, but it's also really lumpy, and it's maybe it's just me who's not coordinated, but I couldn't get the tissue paper as smooth as I would like, so I just skipped that and did 2 layers of glitter instead. So you can still see the fairy, but she's just faint in there, so it kind of looks like a glitter jar for right now. Here is another one that I did. Let me take the lid off. So this one actually has the 2 layers of glitter on it already. Once you have your 2 layers of glitter on the jar, you still have to do another layer of Mod Podge, because if you don't, you can see that the glitter is just gonna flake right off and it'll make a mess everywhere. So the Mod Podge actually seals the glitter in there so that you can touch it completely without it going anywhere. Like the glitter will just stay there forever. I think these would be really pretty outside on a patio, like in a garden area. You just don't want to get them wet.
Kimberly said she did a silhouette of the Karate Man doing a kick for a nephew that loves karate.
That is awesome. I think one with dinosaurs would be really cool also. I can't wait to see all of your comments to see what you have turned empty jars into. And don't forget, if you answer, you could win an awesome Hometalk tote bag. if you are just tuning in, we are making silhouette fairy nightlights in a jar. Again, you can use any kind of jar imaginable, as long as it's clear, you can see through it. And you can use, you don't have to do fairies. Again, you can do anything you can dream of to put in these jars. Fairies are just kind of cool because my kids like to go outside and catch lightning bugs. And with the whole fairy gardens trending right now, I thought we would just do fairies.
Somebody asked if it was sugar.
It's not sugar. I will show you the glitter. It is actually this extra fine, I have glitter everywhere, extra fine glitter, and it's called Crystal Diamond. I use Crystal Diamond just because it is kind of still translucent. You can do like a light pink or really light pastel colors, or I mean, those will work just fine too. I just prefer the look of the clear better. And I found this at Walmart. I think it's like $2 a jar for the glitter. You can get it anywhere, I'm sure.
Okay. Anita said that if you spray Mod Podge, it's quick and easy and it seals really well.
I've only tried the spray one time, and I can't even remember what it was on, and it did work really nice. The smell was kind of strong for me, but I'll have to try it on the jars. So as you can see, it kind of looks white and milky right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to amount to much of anything, but I promise it'll dry clear, and when it does, it makes the glitter like shine even more, really sparkly. So I'm going to let that one dry. And while those are drying, I don't know if you can see the inside of this jar where the fairy is setting. I want to show you quickly how to put those in there and get them lined up kind of evenly. You can either put your silhouettes in your jar before or after. I prefer to do it after, just so I know where the glitter is kind of going to set. If one side looks worse than the other, then I'll know. So here is my silhouette.
Somebody mentioned using orange glitter and pumpkin silhouettes for Halloween.
Oh yes, that would be cool. You could line your walkway or something
Or
like that.
black cats and witches.
Yes. So again, this is just a vinyl decal that I cut. Before I had a vinyl cutting machine, I actually just Googled images of silhouettes and I cut them out by hand and Mod Podged them to the inside. You just put a thin layer of Mod Podge, stick it in there, and you're good to go. So let me move this so I can show you.
I also use them for storing jewelry,
Oh yeah.
planting.
So this is just going to go in here right like this. You can use tweezers or anything else that helps. Since it is so sticky, or even if you, of course it's not gonna work. If you have the Mod Podge in there, that helps already because then your paper will cling right to it. And I'm just going to try to set this in there like so. They don't have to be perfect, but you can kind of get an idea. It should probably go down further. Actually, it's going to bug me, so I'm going to fix it. Again, use whatever you have. If you have tweezers or something, that'll work. But okay, so now she's in there. Push her tightly in there. Again, if you're just using paper and Mod Podge, you can actually find some really cool fairy stickers or any kind of silhouette stickers at a craft store also.
Mary said you can give them at Christmas full of candy.
Yes, and you know what? Christmas, I actually made a nativity scene one. So I cut out a silhouette of a nativity scene and I put it in a jar and did some Christmas-inspired flowers. And so that was really pretty.
Jerry said you can use a chopstick too.
Oh yeah, that would work so much
Work
better
that in
than this
there.
paintbrush. Okay, so you can see she's in there. Super easy. Again, you can put it anywhere. Like, I've seen a few where there was a Santa Claus and there was like reindeer in the air with a little village. Depending on the size of your jar, obviously depends on the size of the silhouette you want to put in there. I'm also going to do one with my kids' names. Again, whatever you want to put in your jar. So since I showed you how to apply the glue to like a round normal jar, I'm going to show you how to do a jar with edges or shapes. You kind of want to make sure your jar is clean. I usually clean them with alcohol prior to starting, just so the glue sticks better.
Getting a few comments about using them for herb gardens and kitchen windows or table centerpieces at wedding receptions, family pictures.
Yes. I love hearing all of the ideas. You make me want to keep making more, which I'm sure my family will love. So with jars that have curves, you just have to make sure the glue doesn't build up around the edges. So I do it by doing a fast, like a thinner coat, and then you can always go back over it with your brush to pick up the spots that are thicker than others. Again,
somebody just went to Bermuda and in the Bahamas, and they used them to keep sand and labeled the month and year.
Ooh, that would be awesome. And then stick a little candle in there to remind you of the sunset. That is a good idea.
Somebody wants to know what kind of glue you are using.
So I always use Mod Podge for most of my projects. This is the one that I'm using. I use gloss just because I think it makes the glitter shine more. They do have a matte version. And there are other sealants you can use. I just prefer to use Mod Podge for everything.
Can you Mod Podge over pictures?
You can. I have not done it with the jars. I've Mod Podge over pictures on canvases before. But with the glitter, I think it's always better to put the image in the inside, just because you're going to cover this thing in glitter. And you don't have to. Make it your own. You don't have to put glitter on it. But I like the look of the glitter. I think it makes it look more whimsical, fun for the kids. So because this is in a regular shaped jar, you can see it has a bottom here, and then another bottom. You can peel that sticker off and cover that with glitter as well, or you can just leave it. But again, you don't want to put any glitter or glue on the bottom because it'll come off onto your nightstand or table or wherever you're going to set it. It'll probably be pretty messy. Even if you seal it, the more you touch it or the more you mess with it, the glitter probably will come off. Okay, so we kind of have some thin lines going on here, trying to remove any big clumps we have. And you can see the glue's already starting to dry. That's why it's important to work fast. So I'm gonna pour what I have left in here.
Katie asked if you can use glitter spray.
I don't think you can. You would just probably have to seal it just like the same, and I'm not sure what kind of, maybe if you use a spray sealant as well.
Had a few more folks join from Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Ooh, Pennsylvania. I would love to hear where all you guys are from. Earlier, if you missed it, we are live from Indy. So I can't wait to hear where all of you guys are watching from. And if you're just turning in, we are making DIY nightlights. They're fairy whimsical nightlights with the fairy silhouettes in them. So I think this is pretty covered. You can see, even though this is the first coat of glue and glitter, this one is pretty well evenly covered. You have a few chunks here. Once you get your second coat on, those will disappear. Lots of glitter. Alright, so I'm going to set that one to the side to dry. Wipe some of this glitter off my hands. And then I will show you how I arrange the flowers on the top. Oh, I missed the thing. Just because the way that the lining works, when you spin them, you want to make sure that your flowers are going to be somewhere at the top or near the fairy. It doesn't make any sense for it to be in the back or anything. So that's why I always wait to do that part last. As you can see on this one, you just kind of glue them in an arrangement so that you can still screw the jar on the lid. And some of the jars do come with the removable insert. I always take that out just because if you're going to be turning on the nightlight on and off, you don't want to have to unscrew the lid every time. I usually just put the light in there. That's how it works. I usually just put the light in there And see, it makes it so much easier if you don't have the lid because you'll unscrew it, have to mess with it. I just dump it, turn it off, and put it back in the jar. So that being said, let's see, we can do this one. So it needs to be, if the fairy's right here, I'm gonna put it right about here. Normally I'd have a marker or something to mark it with. Let's do purple for this one. Again, these are silk flowers I found at the Dollar Tree. You can buy flowers from anywhere. The quality at Dollar Tree isn't as nice as if you went to a craft store, but for these I think it works just fine. Alright, so I usually do about 4 or 5 flowers per lid depending on the size of the jar. And I do like the look of the leaves in there as well because it kind of breaks it up a little bit. So you're just going to pull them off of the stem. You don't need the stem for anything. And these I probably will even cut.
Someone made a snow globe with them.
Oh, that's a good idea. It would be cute to put little snowmen in there and have it looks like it's a snow scene. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on my first flower. And then position it here just as a marker of where my flowers need to be. And then I'm actually going to take it off the lid once this is dry because it's easier to work with if it's not on here. And also I want to remind you about our awesome giveaway. Hometalk is going to give away a Hometalk tote. If you answer, what have you turned your empty jars into? They will pick a winner at the end. So this is kind of dry, but you get an idea of where to start building your arrangement around. So I'm just going to keep adding flowers around here. You don't want to be able to see where the glue is at. And you don't want to see like the ugly stems. So I'm just going to keep adding glue around here. But just keep in mind that you still have to be able to screw the jar in, so you don't want to block any of this stuff. So yeah, these would be fun for it. You can set them in the kitchen window. You can put them in your garden, on your patio with spring coming. It'd be really, oh, my glue stick's not pushing. It'd be really fun to decorate your patio. You can put, again, any image in there.
Jackie asked if Mod Podge is just a clear drying glue.
It is. It's kind of like a clear drying glue / sealant. Here's the bottle. It is a water-based sealer. You can use it as a glue. You can use it as a top coat. I just use Mod Podge for everything. I swear I buy in bulk because it just works so well. It dries really nice. It dries clear. I think there are some. I have a glow-in-the-dark one. I haven't tried to mess with them yet. I think it might be kind of cool to put a glow-in-the-dark sealant on some of them. I've seen the glow-in-the-dark Mod Podge used for, like, if you just paint rocks and then line your driveway with them, they kind of glow in the dark. And oh, my glue is not sticking very well, is it? Yeah, it's a sealer. So once you get all of your layers of glitter on, you definitely want to add another layer of Mod Podge on there. We're going to skip that one, apparently. Just so that the glitter will stay there forever. You don't want it to come off. With it being a water-based sealer, though, they can't get wet. So if you're going to put them outside, make sure it's in a covered area or bring them in.
Celia said she would like to use a wine bottle for a vase.
Yeah. That would be cool. I've seen the wine bottles, and then you could do a silhouette and maybe put some of the string lights in there, like the battery-operated ones. That would be cool. I just like the look of the flickering candles of these. Why is my glue not drying? So you can see here, I'm just trying to arrange them in a way so that once the glue is dry and the flowers actually stick, then you don't see all of the glue and the flowers and all of that stuff. It'll just be a pretty set.
Can you remind some folks what we are making today, please?
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, we are making some nightlight fairy jars. My girls like to go out and collect lightning bugs, and I know when I was little, I used to put lightning bugs in a jar and kind of bring them in at night and watch them, which is really cool. But now as an adult, I feel like it's kind of cruel because I would wake up in the morning and they would be dead. So I decided to make something similar for my girls. They're very into like the fairy stuff right now. So I just cut out a silhouette of a fairy. You can find them in any pose. This is not sticking. I'm going to switch lids. So you can find them in any pose. Here's one, for example. She's just kind of sitting, looking up. Here's another one. I think it might be the same pose. And here's some Disney-inspired ones that we've recently made. You can put any scene in these jars with a battery-operated candle. Let's see if I can get it to turn on. And when I'm done making all of these, I will turn off the lights and show you what they look like, because it's kind of hard to tell when the light is on. So that is what we are making. And right now I'm trying to get these flowers to stick to my lid.
Liliana wants to know if you use a special kind of glitter.
So I do. It's not necessarily special. I use this extra fine glitter. I found mine at Walmart. You can get it anywhere, but you want to make sure it's the extra fine so that the light from the candles can still shine through the jars. This one is called Crystal Diamond. You can use also light colors. You can use like a light pastel pink or a blue. But I just find that the Crystal Diamond works better for letting the light through. So we kind of get this one off. Let's see where this needs to go.
Somebody suggested I've put a few drops of food coloring to stain the glass.
Oh yes, that is good. And I actually watched a Hometalk video the other day where a lady was making some Mod Podge stained glass jars, where she mixed the food coloring with the Mod Podge to stain the jars. So that could be.
Carrie asked if the silhouette is inside or outside the jar.
The silhouette is inside the jar. You can see the inside of this, it's stuck there. I prefer them to be in the inside of the jar because once you cover it with glitter, the Mod Podge and the glitter, you don't want to see the outline so much. You kind of want it to be hidden until you turn on the actual candle in the inside, and then it kind of pops out.
And Nikki wants to know what you use to make the glitter stick to the jar.
So I use Mod Podge. This is the Mod Podge that I use. You put a thin layer of Mod Podge, and I'll show you another one. You put a thin layer on the glass, and then a layer of glitter.
Okay.
So here you can see, I'm just trying to arrange these so that it'll look nice. You can use bigger flowers as well. These are some of the bigger flowers here. This is kind of a smaller one. Again, just gauge by the size of your jar, the size of your flowers. You don't want them to look disproportionate. So once this dries, I'm going to set it to the side and add flowers, but I'm going to show you one last time how to cover the jars with the glue and, well, the Mod Podge and the glitter. So you're just going to do nice even strokes. You don't want there to be any chunks or lines.
Brandy's wondering where you purchased the fairies. She just tuned in.
Thanks for joining us, Brandy. So I did not purchase them. I actually have a vinyl cutting machine where I cut the silhouettes out. Before I had that, I just Googled a fairy silhouette on Google Images, or you can find it any kind of clip art, and then you just simply cut around the outside of the fairy, and any details that you don't want to show through, you just cut them out. And you put a thin layer of Mod Podge inside the jar so that the fairy will stick when you place it, and then she'll stay put forever. He or she. So again, you just want to work kind of fast because the stuff dries pretty fast. But you want to make sure you get the bottom well, but don't cover this bottom because you'll have glitter everywhere.
Lisa wants to know where you get mason jars.
So you can get you can get the mason jars pretty much anywhere. They have them at Michael's. They're kind of pricey at craft stores, so I get them at Dollar Tree. Or you can use spaghetti jars, pickle jars, salsa jars, any kind of jars you have laying around that you're going to throw in the trash or the recycling bin anyway. I tend to be a craft hoarder, so I save all of those things because I'm always trying to figure out how to turn something into something else. So yeah, you can, use anything that you can find as long as it's clear. So there's my thin layer of the glue, and now I'm going to just throw a bunch of glitter on there to make sure it gets coated evenly. Again, you can use any color glitter that you want. Just make sure it's extra fine. I just choose to use the diamond glitter because it is kind of still translucent and you can still see whatever image you have inside your jar. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're loving this video, and don't forget to subscribe to all of the awesome Hometalk videos. So here is the jar. It's covered in the first layer of glitter. You do want 2 layers of glitter, so you're going to do Mod Podge, a layer of glitter, let it dry about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on, you know, obviously how fast it dries. And again, after the first layer of glitter, it will still sort of flake off, and that's to be expected. That's when you put the second layer of Mod Podge and the second layer of glitter. Once the second layer of Mod Podge and glitter are dry, do a third layer of Mod Podge. And this is after the third layer. You can see the glitter doesn't come off at all. It's completely sealed on there, and that's what we want. We don't want the glitter to come off because we all know how messy glitter can be, especially for giving these to kids. So let's see. Don't forget about the awesome giveaway we have, by the way. I would love to hear what you have turned all of your empty jars into. So now that this is dry a little bit more, this is my lid. I'm going to add just a few leaves to stick out. And you can get silk flowers anywhere. I get mine from Dollar Tree because I'm cheap and I think they look just as nice. Now if you're doing something a little more formal, like a wedding or a baby shower or something, you can choose to use some nicer flowers, but I feel like they're for the most, they're all the same.
Melissa said she's turned them into outdoor hanging lights.
Oh yes, that would be cool. How do you do that? Do you screw holes in them or do you use wire? I think you could use wire to hang around the necks of the jars. So here's a lid. You can see they don't have to be anything fancy. They just add an extra added touch. If you don't use flowers, I think you could use like Legos or glued little trucks or those little cars. You can get like the Matchbox cars. This is just going to sit like that on the jar just to kind of give it more of a flair, make them look extra nice. So I wanted to show you the steps, or you can tell the layers. My thing's getting glued. This one has 2 layers of glitter, and this is just an extra layer of Mod Podge. It will look milky with your last layer of Mod Podge, but don't worry because it's gonna dry clear. But this kind of gives you an idea of how well it covers. And here is a jar with only 1 layer of glitter, so you can see the big difference between the first step and the third, and why it's important to layer them. And then, let's see. So again, you can put the decals of the fairies. I put them inside the jar. If you don't have some sort of vinyl machine, it's fine, don't worry about it. Google an image of anything that you want to put in there. A fairy, a truck, a pumpkin like we talked about, anything you want. Just cut along the edges of it. Place a thin layer of Mod Podge inside the jar and stick your silhouette up against there. You can choose to put your silhouette inside the jar before or after. I usually do mine after, just so in case I have some blemishes in the glitter or I messed one side up, it's not a huge deal. You can just put your decal on the nice side because none of us are perfect crafters.
Tracy wants to know how you glue the fairy on the inside of the jar.
So I just use Mod Podge. I do a thin layer of glue, put the Mod Podge inside the jar. Then you put the fairy in there. I don't know if you can see inside the jar. And then just put a thin layer over it and it'll stay forever. I don't do the decal on the outside of the jars because once you do the thin layer of Mod Podge and then the glitter, it kind of gets lost in there a little bit. So you always want to do it on the outside. I wanted to show you. These are the tea lights that I use. I think they work really great. I've never had an issue. They've never died, no matter how long. I'm sure they will eventually die, but they haven't. And they have color changing ones. I showed you the orange ones, but let me see if I can. These are my favorite, and I found these at Dollar Tree. Apparently I can't open the package. I found these at Dollar Tree, and they change colors, which is really cool. Especially with the fairy, it kind of makes them look a little more whimsical. So you just pull the tab, and see how it changes colors. So I don't know, it might be too dark in here, but let me show you. And again, I was talking about how a lot of the jars, like the canning jars or even spaghetti jars or something, might come with a middle. But these ones that I found at the Dollar Tree, you can remove the middle, which is nice for when you want to turn on and off the nightlight, because then you don't have to unscrew the lid every single time. So here's my color changing light. I'm simply going to drop it in here. And then if you can see, it's still kind of bright in here. They look really, really cool at night. And again, you can do any scene in there. Some people put their kids as pictures. This is more of a Cinderella inspired one. And here's a Little Mermaid one. I'll turn the lights off at the very end so you can see how they look. Put anything in there, add anything on the top. They're super easy to make. For those of you who are just turning in, these are the nightlights that we are making. While our glue is drying, I'll kind of go over a few more things. These are the nightlights that we're making. I guess they don't have to be for night. You can put them on a garden patio, use them at a baby shower. You could use them at a gender reveal party, put boy or girl, baby footprints. I mean, the options that you can do are pretty much endless. So yeah, the steps are as followed. Clear jar, you need a clear jar. Mod Podge or some sort of water-based glue. You need this glue, this glitter, I'm sorry. So here's the Mod Podge glitter. It is an extra fine glitter. It is called Crystal Diamond. I use this because it's still sort of translucent. It looks really pretty. It looks really whimsical. And if you're going for boys, maybe you don't want to do glitter. I did hear someone mention using a stain to stain the jars, and you can do that with Mod Podge, just a little bit, and some food coloring. Put that in the jar, let it dry, and then you'll have like the tinted jar. You can glue your silhouette to the inside of the jar, never the outside. It looks bumpy and it just doesn't look as smooth. Plus, if you were to put the silhouette on the outside and you were to Mod Podge it, if you're using just like regular paper, printer paper from an image that you found, it could make some of the paper come off and it's not as clean.
Tracy asked if you could use them as a bank.
I think you could. I don't see why not. If you just cut maybe a small slit in the lid, I think you could. As long as the candle didn't get covered. If you don't care about the candle look or the nightlight, of course you could. So once you have your image in your jar, again, you could do that last, either one. Then you just put a thin layer of the Mod Podge completely around the jar, making sure it's even. You don't want any thick lines because the glitter will clump there. Then you just coat your jar, like by sprinkling the glitter onto there evenly all the way around the jar. This one's not sticky. I'm just showing you for demonstration. Let that dry. Then you're going to do a second coat. Let me find one that has a second coat on it. This one does. So you want to do the second coat of Mod Podge, then glitter. Let that dry. And then that's when you're going to do the third coat of Mod Podge. I know it seems like a lot. It's really not. It will look milky, but that's just until it dries. Thankfully with Mod Podge, it does dry clear. I use a gloss one just because it helps the glitter look more shiny, or glitter even more. It will dry clear, and then this will be the end result of the glitter. It's super shiny, it's still sparkly, and it doesn't come off on your hands. It's only on my hands because I was glittering this.
Abilene wants to know where you purchase the glitter.
So I found my glitter, where did my glitter go? So I found my glitter at Walmart. It's just in the crafting aisle. I think it's like $2, maybe $2.50. But you can get extra fine glitter anywhere. I've seen it at Michael's and Joann's or even Hobby Lobby. But yeah, you can get it anywhere. Just make sure it is extra fine because you don't want it to be clumpy.
I'm gonna turn the lights off in a minute.
Okay, I'm going to show you. Let me dump this glitter back in here before I spill it everywhere. And I'm going to turn off the lights and kind of show you the end result and why I love these jars so much. They're a lot of fun. They're super whimsical. Let me find if this is one of the color changing. Okay. And I'm going to put this in here. And there's one in there. So again, with the lids that don't have the middle, it is a little more work to keep unscrewing the lid, but it's worth it. So this is the end result. Do you want to hit that with the light if you can? Maybe that one. This is the end result of the jars. Again, you can use any image in the inside, and it's still not that dark out, but when it is super dark, they look really cool. They're a lot of fun, and they've even encouraged my 5-year-old to sleep in her own room more often. So if you're having that issue like me, I encourage you to make one of these for your kids as well. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching our Home Talk Live. Be sure to check us out at lifeispoppin.com. And don't forget to enter the giveaway.
We have a winner. It's Carol Thomas.
Oh, we do have a winner. Carol Thomas, you have won. Congratulations, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to watch us again at 5 o'clock p.m. when we will be live here on Home Talk. Thank you.